Hi everyone. I spent some time this week getting a setup so I can record myself working through the problems you were assigned and which were due on Monday, and just working through those so we can have a little more normalcy in how this whole process is going, and you can have some resolution in seeing the problems worked through and have your questions answered. So what I have here is I have the Google Classroom open on in a tab right now, and then right in front of me I have a document camera with the problem written out on. I'm going to go through each of these in 4 separate videos just so you can have somewhere to look at and you don't have to jump forward between videos, as well as just having work solutions to these like I mentioned. So let's go ahead and get into number 1. Number 1 is dealing with an arithmetic sequence where we're given some different number of terms here. So what we're given in this problem is we're given the first term of the sequence as 7 and the 18th term as 58. Now there are a lot of ways to work through this, but what I like to do when I'm approaching these is I like to just think about what's happening in the sequence. Since it's arithmetic, we're adding the same number or subtracting over and over. Well, since 7 is smaller than 58, this sequence is increasing in value, so I know I'm adding something. What we're adding is called the common difference, and that's what we're asked to find here. So ultimately we want to find what D, or our common difference, is. We can solve this using a systems of equations, which takes a bit of time, or we can just think about, like I said, what's happening in the pattern here. So if I start with this, I know the first term is 7, and that's helpful because the formula we have to find the difference or to find any term uses the first term always as our starting point. So if we think about what's happening here, I have 7, and then I have some other term which we call the second term by adding some number. Then I have the third term, adding some number, then I have the fourth term by adding some number, and I keep doing this until I hit the 17th term by adding some number, and then I finally hit the 18th term of 58. So if we think about how this process of adding works, we can actually work backwards in this problem and solve for what the difference is just based on this. So if we think about this, to get from 7, the first term, to the second term, I add my difference one time. To get to the next term, I add my difference again. To get to this is the fourth term now, I add my difference again. So to get from my first term to my second term, I add the difference once. To get from the first term to the third term, I add the difference 2 times. To get from the first term to the fourth term, I add the difference 3 times. So if I want to get from the first term right here to the 18th term in this pattern, I already have the first term. What we're going to do is we're going to add the difference 17 times, so 17 differences. So what we can do is build a formula from here. We can say to get to 58, I start at 7 and I add the difference 17 times, or 17 differences. So instead of plus D plus D plus D over and over and over again, I can just say I'm going to make one big jump of 17 D's to get to the 18th term of this sequence. So if we solve this equation now, take 7 away, we get 51 is equal to 17 times what our difference is, and dividing by 17 gets us a difference of 3. So every time I move from one term or number in this sequence to the next, I add 3. And if I do that 17 times, I end up at 58. Look for the next video. Hope this helped out.